Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India and Ghana agree to elevate bilateral relationship to the level of a comprehensive partnership. The Prime Minister says both nations stand united in the fight against terrorism. India and Ghana exchanged 4 MoUs in the fields of culture, standards, Ayurveda and traditional medicine, and joint commission mechanism for engagement between the two countries. Prime Minister Modi conferred the national honour of Ghana Officer of the Order of the Star of Ghana. The Prime Minister accepts the award on behalf of 1.4 billion Indians. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says that the Quad ministers unanimously agree to strengthen strategic stability in the Indo-Pacific region. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held bilateral talks with the President of Ghana, John Mahama, in Accra. The two leaders met in restricted and delegation level formats, and they held wide-ranging talks. The two leaders held discussions on a wide range of issues. India and Ghana have held delegation level talks, as we said, and they agreed to elevate their relationship to a comprehensive partnership. Both leaders reaffirmed the warm and time-tested ties between India and Ghana. They discussed ways to expand the cooperation in key areas, which include trade and commerce and other fields. They committed to further strengthening development cooperation partnership, especially through India-supported infrastructure and capacity building projects. India offered to share its experiences in the fields of health, pharma, digital public infrastructure, UPI and skill development. The two leaders discussed global issues as well. Following the delegation-level talks, 4 MoUs in the fields of culture, standards, Ayurveda and traditional medicine and joint commission mechanism for engagement between the foreign ministries were exchanged. President Mahama hosted a state banquet in honor of Prime Minister Modi. Thanking him for his gracious hospitality, the Prime Minister invited President Mahama to visit India at a mutually convenient time. Addressing the press jointly, both the President and the Prime Minister, they spoke and gave statements, and Prime Minister Modi in his statement said that at the heart of the India-Ghana friendship lies shared values, common struggles and the collective aspirations for an inclusive future. The Prime Minister added that in the defense sector, in the security sector, both the countries are going to make progress with the principle of security through solidarity. The collaboration will strengthen in key areas of trade and investment as well.
हमारा द्विपक्षीय व्यापार $3 बिलियन पार कर चुका है। भारतीय कंपनियों ने लगभग 900 प्रोजेक्ट्स में लगभग $2 बिलियन का निवेश किया है। आज हमने आपसी व्यापार को अगले 5 वर्षों में दोगुना करने का लक्ष्य निर्धारित किया है। फिनटेक के क्षेत्र में भारत यूपीआई डिजिटल पेमेंट का अनुभव घाना के साथ साझा करने के लिए तैयार है। फ्रेंड, डेवलपमेंट पार्टनरशिप हमारी साझेदारी का एक मूल स्तंभ है। राष्ट्रपति महामा के आर्थिक पुनर्गठन के प्रयासों में भारत के पूर्ण समर्थन और सहयोग का हम आश्वासन देते हैं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that India and Ghana have agreed to elevate their bilateral relationship to the level of a comprehensive partnership. The leaders have also proposed to provide affordable health care to the citizens of Ghana.
आज राष्ट्रपति जी और मैंने हमारी द्विपक्षीय साझेदारी को कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव पार्टनरशिप का रूप देने का निर्णय लिया है। घाना के राष्ट्र निर्माण की इस यात्रा में भारत केवल एक सहयोगी नहीं बल्कि एक सहयात्री है।
The Prime Minister said that both nations stand united in the fight against terrorism. Prime Minister said that India and Ghana remain concerned about the tensions in South Asia and Europe.
हम एक मत है कि आतंकवाद मानवता का दुश्मन है। आतंकवाद के खिलाफ हमारी लड़ाई में सहयोग के लिए हम गाना का आभार प्रकट करते हैं। इस संदर्भ में हमने काउंटर टेररिज्म में आपसी सहयोग को और मजबूत करने का निर्णय किया है। यूएन रिफॉर्म्स को लेकर हमारा दृष्टिकोण एक जैसा है। पश्चिम एशिया और यूरोप में चल रहे कॉन्फ्लिक्ट को लेकर हम दोनों ने गहरी चिंता व्यक्त की है। हमारा मानना है कि यह युद्ध का युग नहीं है। डायलॉग और डिप्लोमेसी से ही समस्या का समाधान होना चाहिए।
In his press statement, the President of Ghana, John Mahama, said that India and Ghana will further strengthen ties in multiple sectors, including in traditional medicines and culture.
The two sides have engaged in significant discussions to deepen cooperation across various sectors of our economy, including agriculture, energy, manufacturing, infrastructural development, human resources, and health, amongst others. On the strength of the successful engagements, we have had a number of memoranda of understanding have been signed between Ghana and India to give impetus to our commitment and aspirations for sustained and enhanced cooperation. And these include the Memorandum of Understanding on the establishment of a permanent joint commission between our two countries, the Memorandum of Understanding between the Institute of Traditional and Alternative Medicine and the University of Health and Allied Sciences in Ho, Ghana, and the Institute of Teaching and Research in Ayurveda, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. We've also signed an MoU on cultural exchange between our two countries, and also an MoU between the Bureau of India Standards and the Ghana Standards Authority.
Well, he said that Prime Minister Modi's visit comes at a crucial time when Ghana is undergoing economic restructuring. And he said that India and Ghana will work towards enhancing trade and investment to boost the economy.
Both countries will work to deepen economic and investment relations at a time that Ghana is undergoing economic restructuring due to the debt treatment we're undergoing and the IMF program. Going forward, Ghana and India intend to pursue these engagements through diplomatic mechanisms, including Foreign Office consultations with each other, as well as the Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation, to give effect to the intended outcomes of our engagement for mutual benefit.
Prime Minister Modi was conferred with National Honour of Ghana, the Officer of the Order of the Star of Ghana, by the President of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, in recognition of his distinguished statesmanship and influence as a global leader. Accepting the award on behalf of 1.4 billion Indians, the Prime Minister dedicated the honour to the aspirations of the youth of India, its cultural traditions and diversity, and to the historical ties between Ghana and India. The Prime Minister thanked the people and the government of Ghana for this special gesture.
राष्ट्रपति जी द्वारा गाना के राष्ट्रीय अवार्ड द ऑफिसर ऑफ द ऑर्डर ऑफ द स्टार ऑफ गाना से सम्मानित किया जाना मेरे लिए अत्यंत गर्व और सम्मान की बात है। मैं राष्ट्रपति महामा जी, गाना सरकार और गाना के लोगों का हृदय से आभार प्रकट करता हूं। मैं इस सम्मान को 140 करोड़ भारतीयों की ओर से विनम्रता के साथ स्वीकार करता हूं। यह सम्मान मैं हमारे युवाओं की आकांक्षाओं को, उनके उज्जवल भविष्य को, हमारी समृद्ध सांस्कृतिक विविधता और परंपराओं को और भारत गाना के ऐतिहासिक संबंधों को समर्पित करता हूं।
Earlier in the evening, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had landed in Accra, the capital of Ghana, on the first leg of his five-nation tour. In a special gesture, the President of Ghana, John Mahama, had himself received Prime Minister Modi at the airport, where he was given a traditional welcome. The Prime Minister was also given a Guard of Honor along with a 21-gun salute. This is the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister, by any Indian Prime Minister in the last 30 years to Ghana. The President of Ghana, John Mahama, welcomed Prime Minister Modi on his first ever bilateral visit to the nation. The Prime Minister posted on X that he was honored by the special gesture of President John Dramani Mahama for welcoming him at the airport. The Prime Minister also said that both nations look forward to working together to strengthen the long-standing relationship and explore fresh avenues of collaboration. The Prime Minister reached the hotel as well in Accra, and thousands had gathered to catch a glimpse of him. The Indian community is about 15,000 people strong in Ghana, and they gave the Prime Minister a grand welcome. The Prime Minister also posted on X about this, about the warmth that he received from the diaspora during his arrival in Accra, and he said that the spirit of togetherness and the deep cultural linkages are truly wonderful. On Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Ghana, the Secretary Economic Relations in the Ministry of External Affairs, Dammu Ravi, he provided a detailed account of the visit. He said that both leaders acknowledged the historic significance of the occasion as it marks the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Ghana in over 30 years.
Both the leaders acknowledge that this is a historic visit for the fact that this visit is taking place at the Prime Minister level from India after 30 years. President Mahama clearly acknowledged that it is a landmark visit that is very timely and very opportunistic at a time when Ghana is also looking for partnership with India to deepen economic engagement after its own economic rebound, recovery that it is facing, having gone through the IMF conditionalities and restructuring.
He also highlighted the shared concerns over the global impact of terrorism. President Mahama had expressed strong solidarity with India, unequivocally condemning the recent terror attack in Pahalgam, and he reaffirmed Ghana's support for India in its fight against terrorism.
There was also concern for the way terrorism is affecting the world. President Mahama clearly expressed solidarity with India. He condemned the Pahalgam terrorist attacks, and he was very clear and unequivocal in his support for India and the solidarity in the fight against terrorism.
And shifting focus now, at a press conference in Washington, D.C., India's External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, he provided insights into his meeting with the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and his participation in the Quad Ministerial Dialogue. Dr. Jaishankar said that the Quad ministers unanimously agreed on the objective of strengthening strategic stability in the Indo-Pacific region. On the bilateral,
agreed strongly that our goal in the Quad was to strengthen strategic stability in the Indo-Pacific. And this meeting, the discussions were largely devoted to enhancing delivery on various initiatives and projects. As is the practice on such occasions, we had a very open, very freewheeling discussion on regional issues of the Indo-Pacific. A lot of that was a granular analysis of different situations, different issues of the Indo-Pacific itself. But again, in the light of recent developments, it is natural that we also spend some time discussing the Israel-Iran conflict, also what the U.S. had done in Iran.
On the bilateral front, Dr. Jaishankar said that he had a productive meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio.
In terms of my bilateral meetings, I had a good session with Secretary Rubio. And we essentially did a stock taking of the last 6 months, and what do we do to go look ahead. And this included a discussion on trade and investment, on technology, on defense and security, on energy, and on mobility.
India's Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has promised to extend all possible support to further expand and preserve India's rich film heritage. The Secretary in the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Sanjay Jaju, he on Wednesday, in fact, visited the Pune-based Film and Television Institute, reviewing various ongoing activities. The Secretary spoke about the contribution of the National Film Development Corporation and the Film and Television Institute of India to the film sector, calling it invaluable. India's opening batter, Yashasvi Jaiswal, fell short of his second century of the series on the first day of the second test against England at Edgbaston on Wednesday. After lunch, Jaiswal and skipper Shubman Gill had steadily built a partnership before the England skipper Ben Stokes had made the breakthrough. They had added over 66 runs for the third wicket before Jaiswal fell for 87 runs. Then Gill and the wicketkeeper batter Rishabh Pant also took the visitors to 200 runs. Earlier, India had lost opener KL Rahul early, and then Karun Nair fell for 31 just before lunch. Nair shared an 80-run partnership with Jaiswal, but the highlight was that Gill went on to make a century, his second of the series. And India had ended at 310 at stumps for 5 wickets. The top seed, Aryna Sabalenka, had outclassed Mary Boskova 7-6, 6-4 to reach the third round of the Wimbledon on Wednesday. The three-time Grand Slam champion from Belarus, who was a golden chance at she has a golden chance to claim her first Wimbledon title, with several seeds losing early. She led the tiebreak after a couple of errors from Boskova and then wrapped up the first set with a forehand winner. An untimely error then by Boskova gifted Sabalenka the break in the 5th game of the second set, and there was no looking back for her then, and there with a twice semi-finalist holding firm to close out the win. Madison Keys eased past Olga Danilovich, and she won 6-4, 6-2 to reach the third round. The Australian Open champion is in the hunt for Grand Slam glory at the All England Club. And she's going to be the first woman since the great Serena Williams to win those 2 majors in a season if she does. And next up for Keys is going to be a match against Germany's Laura Sigmund. Devotees from all corners of Gauteng attended the Ratiatra festival at the Baps Hindu Mandir, which is in Johannesburg. Now, the Ratiatra is an integral part of the religious calendar of India. It's celebrated mainly in Odisha, but also throughout the Indian subcontinent. The festival has been celebrated every year since the time of Bhagwan Swaminarayan at all Baps temples around the world. At the Baps Hindu Mandir in Johannesburg, in fact, what happened is that devotees from different linguistic groups also came together to celebrate the Yatratra. Musicians played the song Jai Ho as they welcomed Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Ghana. Let's listen. Using traditional African instruments as well to play that wonderful song. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those of you on the go, you can get the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code and download it now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Mark Lynn. From all of us here in Delhi, thank you for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.